Okay, so we've been talking about quadratic functions for some time now. These past couple of weeks before Thanksgiving break, we talked about transforming them, like graphing them and moving them. We've talked about identifying their zeros graphically. We've talked about vertex and axis of symmetry. We've even factored them already. So sometimes when you factor an equation, it doesn't work. No matter what you do or try, the quadratic equation will not factor. When that happens, you can use what we call the quadratic formula. This involves the equation being in standard form. You identify A, B, and C, and then you plug it into the quadratic formula. Okay, the quadratic formula will work all the time, whether it's factorable or not. So let's go ahead and practice using the quadratic formula. So I'm going to go ahead and write down the actual formula here. It's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. All of that is divided by 2 times a. Okay, so that means we need to go back to standard form and identify what are a, b, and c. Okay, once we've identified a, b, and c, all we have to do is plug it in to the equation. So I'm going to go ahead and write the steps down over here. Step 1, identify a, b, and c. Step 2, plug them in. And then step 3, I'm going to solve. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this process. So first, I have to identify what a, b, and c are. Okay, a is the coefficient in front of x squared. If I don't see a number like I do here, there's an understood invisible 1 right there. B is the number in front of x, so for us that's negative 18. C is the constant, so for us that's positive 32. Alright, step 1 is done for us. Step 2, I have to plug it in, so I'm going to go ahead and do step 2 over here. Okay, so here I have x equals negative, what did we say b was? We said b was negative 18 divided by, oh, I guess all of this is divided by, we'll do that at the end, that's fine. Let's just keep going on the top. Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a is 1 times c is 32. And then all of that is divided by 2 times a. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead, so that's step 2. We've plugged in our equations here. So now what I need to do next is I need to actually solve for x here. Okay, now that involves different things. It just depends on what our specific equation is. So, alright, so let's go ahead and start solving. So I have 2 negatives make a positive. Now, negative 18 squared, that's a pretty big number. So if you need to bust out your calculator, that's totally fine. 18 times 18 is going to give me 324. Minus, now I have 4 times 1, which is 4, and then 4 times 32. That gives me 128. All of that is divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. Alright, I'm still on step 3. I'm on step 3 until I have an answer. Okay, so I just have to keep going here. So 324 minus 128 gives me 196. Still don't have an answer. Gotta keep going. I gotta figure out what the square root of 196 is. Okay, so square root of 196 is 14. Okay, so let's keep going. So I have x equals 18 plus or minus the square root of 196 is 14 over 2. I guess here, let me add to step 3. So I'm just writing down split into 2 equations or answers. Now the reason why I'm writing that down is because I do have plus or minus. Okay, so that means one of my answers is going to be when I'm adding, and then the second answer is going to be when I'm subtracting. So let's go ahead and split that up now into my 2 possible answer choices. One is when I'm adding 14, and then the second answer is going to come from where I'm subtracting 14 instead. Okay, so let's do our first question where we add 18 plus 14. That gives me 32 over 2. And let's do the second one where we're subtracting. That gives me 4 over 2. So I have 2 answers here. One of them being 16 and the other one being 2. Is it okay to have 2 answers with quadratic? Yeah, we usually got 2 answers when we factored. And what that means graphically, what that means is here at 2 and 16, those are the zeros of the function. Okay, so it's touching that x-axis twice. That's what it means from a graphical standpoint. I guess we could leave that there just for the visual. Right, so 16 to... That's why I have 2 answers, because I have 2 zeros. Okay. Alright, so that is our first example. Let's do another one. Same steps. These 3 steps I'm going to do over and over and over again. It's just now the numbers are different, right? So I am going to write the equation down. The equation never changes. Never ever does it change. It always stays the same. That's the quadratic formula right there. Alright, so let's start answering this. Okay, you already know it's going to split up into 2, but I'm not going to write that. Alright, so let's go ahead and start identifying A, B, and C. So A, B, C. Perfect. Let's write those down. A is 3, B is 7, C is 4. These numbers are large, right? So if we thought the other numbers were big, it's okay. If you need that arithmetic help, you can bust out with the calculator. So B is 7. Plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus 4 times A is 3 times C is 4. All of that is divided by 2 times A, which is 3. Right, so this is step 2, right? We did step 1, we did step 2. Now step 3 is us actually solving, right? So I'm going to go ahead and solve. So if I start solving, that's just negative 7. That's going to become 49 minus 4 times 3 is 12, and then 12 times 4 is 48. Yes. Okay. Divided by 6. I'm going to keep going. -7 plus or minus the square root of 1 over 6. Okay, 49 minus 48 is 1. I'm going to keep going on the other side because I'm running out of space here. I got to figure out what the square root of 1 is, which is why it has the plus and minus. I don't know if that's made, because when you get the square root, you have a positive value and a negative value, which is why it has that. So I have -7 plus or minus 1, square root of 1 is 1, divided by 6. Right, this is where I split it up into my two possible answer choices. One of them when I'm adding the 1, and then the second one is coming from me subtracting the 1. And then all I have to do is solve. So here it's going to be, what is that, -6 over 6, which gives me one of my answers. And then this guy over here, that's -8 over 6, which gives me my second answer. Fractions are friends. It's not going to freak me out. I have a fraction. Okay. So those two places would be my two x-intercepts if I had this function graphically. All right, let's do another one. I'm not going to write the steps down this time. Should I? No, you have them, right? Okay. Here's my equation. B, A, C, A. Okay, great. Let's just go ahead and start. Ooh, wait, something's wrong here. This guy is not on the right side of the equal sign. I actually have to move him by adding. If it's not in standard form, you have to make it in standard form. Otherwise, you're gonna think C is -3 and it's actually +3, which means you're gonna end up getting like a wrong number somewhere. I'm gonna rewrite it real quick. So 12x minus 13x plus 3 equals 0. All right. Oops. Shoot, what happened? Okay, there we are. Equals 0. Okay. So now that I've moved that -3 over, now I can identify A, B, and C. I'm going to erase that one so we don't get confused. Okay. So A is 12, B is -13, C is +3. All right. Now I'm going to plug them in. So I have x equals -13 plus or minus the square root of -13 squared minus 4 times A is 12 and C is 3. All of that is divided by 2 times 12. Alright, so that was step 2. So step 1, I identified A, B, C. Step 2, I plugged them in. Now I get to start solving. Two negatives make a positive. -13 squared is 169. This is going to be 48 times 3. What's 48 times 3? 48 times 3, 48 times 3. 144. And then the bottom is 24. Alright, I gotta keep going. Can't stop till I get my answer. So 169 minus 144, 25. Alright, so then I have x equals 13 plus or minus the square root of 25 is 5. And I'm just going to keep going again. This is where I get to split it up. And then here I have my other subtraction. Okay, so my two possible choices are 18 over 24, which I can actually simplify that. And 12 over 24, which this can be simplified as well. So this is going to be 1/2, one answer. And then this is going to be, what is this? 13 2, no. Just kidding, not 2. 3/4. Okay, great. So those are my 2 answers there. X is 3/4 and X is also 1/2. That means I have 2 solutions or 2 zeros, one of them at half and the other one at 3/4. We're going to do one more, then we're going to stop here. Actually, no, let's just stop there. Okay, that's a decent enough practice. Tomorrow I will post another video of me doing a couple more examples, just so this video doesn't get super extra long. Okay.